Welcome to my kitchen. This is the ultimate carrot cake. 2 moist cake layers and a cheesecake layer right in between. Topped with marzipan carrots. And I'm going to show you how not to dye your fingers orange. So, preheat your oven to 350 degrees and let's go have some fun. We're going to start with the cheesecake because that takes the longest amount of time. And you need 3 8-ounce bricks of cheese softened. Here's a cheat. Just plop them in some warm water and they'll be softened up in about 10 minutes. And you can do the same with eggs to help them come to room temperature. You want them softened so that way they're gonna blend together with everything else and you'll have no lumps. And then add 1/3 cup of light brown sugar. You wanna pack that in there and cream them till they're nice and smooth and scrape down your bowl just to make sure everything gets fully mixed in. Yep, because if it's gonna hide, it's gonna be right there. See how nice and creamy it's getting? And then to this add 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of allspice, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg or mace, one of my favorite spices, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and a teaspoon of lemon juice. You can't get any fresher than that. And then very gradually add in 2 cups of heavy whipping cream and increase the speed to beat it to stiff peaks. This way, it doesn't splatter all over the place. And then pour it into your 9-inch springform pan lined with parchment paper so you'll be able to get it out later. And then take an offset spatula and smooth it out around the sides. And then put it in the freezer. It'll take between 3 and 5 hours to get solid and firm enough to put in the cake. And then grate 2 cups of carrots. I like them big. You can do the small one too if you like. It's just personal preference. And don't throw away those tops. I'm going to show you what to do with them later on. Now for the carrot cake part, this is the easiest oil cake you'll ever make. You take 2.5 cups of flour, leveled, 2 cups of light brown sugar, pack that in there. You can also use dark brown sugar if you want. 2 teaspoons of baking soda, a teaspoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of cinnamon, a teaspoon of allspice, 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg or mace, and a dash of kosher salt. And then just mix that with your beater. And then to 1/2 cup of oil, and I use an extra large measuring cup for this. Add 1/2 cup of buttermilk. I use the powdered buttermilk when it's just 1/2 cup. And 3 eggs. And whisk that all together. And just pour it right on in. And you'll want to mix these just until they're combined. Don't overmix. And scrape down the bowl to help it reach all the dry ingredients that are hiding on the bottom. This is going to help it mix faster and help prevent gluten from forming. Gluten is for bread, not for cakes. All right, and now just fold in the carrots, 1/2 cup of chopped pecans, or you can use walnuts too. I prefer pecans. On second thought, let's make that a full cup of pecans. And 1/2 cup of crushed pineapple. The pineapple is going to work with the baking soda for the rise. and give it a nice tang. You just fold that in by hand. And to prepare my pans, I use baking spray. It's baking spray with flour. Make sure you get that kind. And parchment paper on the bottom. And baking strips. I use these too. All it is strips of fabric that goes around the outside of your pans. And what that does is it changes the baking process so you don't get that big dome in the middle. You get flat tops every time. And then divide it evenly amongst your pans. All right, there you go. And then bake for 35 to 40 minutes until a toothpick comes out clean. It's ready. And while the cakes are cooling down, this is the perfect time to make the marzipan carrots. You take 1 cup of powdered sugar and 1 cup of almond flour. Give that a mix around and add in 1 egg white gradually. You might need the whole egg white, you don't know. And add in a ½ teaspoon of almond extract too. Towards the end, you can use your hands to knead it into a nice dough. If it's a little tacky, just add a little bit of powdered sugar. It smells so good. And they're gonna be really cool carrots. I'm gonna make small carrots. Now to get the correct color of orange, you start with 9 drops of yellow and 1 drop of red. 2, 3, 4, and a few drops of water. And just paint it right on. Oh yeah, there we go. So let's get started on the cream cheese frosting. You just take 1 brick of cream cheese, softened, along with 10 tablespoons of butter, softened, and cream those together and add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. All right, I got in a little bit of a hurry and I have some lumps. So the easiest way to get those out, you can beat it forever and ever and ever, is I'm just gonna heat up just a few tablespoons in the microwave and pour it back in. Just add it in and it'll warm up the whole batch. This is important to do before you add the powdered sugar. So once it's all nice and smooth and creamy, add 4 cups of powdered sugar. And I weighed it out, that's 600 grams. And just add it a little bit at a time. And if my mixer won't do this, but yours might, to keep it from sending powdered sugar all over the place, just put a tea towel around it. And now that everything's cooled down and frozen, put it all together. You just take a knife and we're gonna loosen it up around the edges. If it's really frozen, a hot towel or a torch will get this rightly loosened up. And there's our cheesecake. This layer, put it on top. And you'll notice too that my springform pan is slightly larger than my cake pans. And that's okay. And then we just put the frosting on. And I'm going to use my turntable. I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way to frost a cake. You'll notice though, when you frost over your cheesecake, it's a little hard. And then we'll put some rosettes on top. If you try to frost your cake before it's all the way cooled, it'll just melt your frosting and your frozen cheesecake here. And there's going to be just enough. And I'm going to put a skirt of pecans on. We'll just press some in there on the bottom layer. Some people like to put the pecans right into the frosting. You can even take the pecans all the way up if you want. And now we put the tops on. That's why we save the tops of our carrots. And your marzipan carrots will get a little hard while they're waiting. Isn't that pretty? Let's get another one. Your tops will wilt overnight, so you want to put these on just before serving. You know, I think that's the thing I like most about baking is the creativity. There's no right way or wrong way to do anything. Is this not the ultimate carrot cake? I love it. Marzipan carrots and a cheesecake in the middle. Yes, that's ultimate. If you had a fun time today, subscribe to my channel, give it a like, leave a comment about the bunny rabbit, and don't forget to boop that bell. That way you'll be notified whenever I make a video.